We're very excited about doing this show for Lunenburg Public Access TV. We are longtime residents of Lunenburg, and it's just the interactions with local merchants is special here. It's something you don't really get in other parts of the state, and we're going to show that in some future episodes. We're actually going to go in and visit and have them show us how they prepare the products that they sell. We're going to prepare simple, economical, traditional Italian meals that anyone can cook.
And everyone can enjoy.
And today I'm going to prepare fettuccine noodles. And after having said simple, traditional Italian food, I'm going to make it by hand. Doesn't sound simple, but you're going to be surprised at how simple it is, and you're going to want to make it yourself. We're looking forward to it. We hope you are, and let's begin cooking.
You didn't ask about my philosophy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Never leave people going home hungry. Never, never, ever. So, and I think we will accomplish that by the end of the show.
Yeah, and also, you know, we talked about, the title of the show is LaTabella, the table. And today's kitchens, we don't have kitchen tables anymore. We have counters, we have islands, peninsulas, but it's still the same notion that good friends, loving family get together and share all that life has to offer. And that's what we do, and we hope you'll do that also. So to begin with, excuse me, I want to start making some pasta dough. And there are options when you're mixing pasta dough. I don't know if the camera can pick up the color. Here, we're going to put some out in a cup on the counter. Well, let's do this a little bit easier and faster. We're going to take roughly a cup and a half. This pasta I'm using is pasta flour. Thank you. Is durum wheat flour. It's a hard wheat. It's the product that Italian households in Italy use to make their pasta. You could use all-purpose flour. It's a bit less expensive. It does make a kind of a softer, more tender pasta dough. Durum flour, that's a hard wheat, and so it makes a pasta that, when we talk about al dente, this is perfect for that. It does a great job at keeping the finished product, the cooked pasta, nicely chewable without being crunchy. But you may not like that. Some people may like a more tender pasta, and I would encourage you to use all-purpose flour for that. Sometimes, depending on how you make flour, you get something like this, and it's labeled semolina. And it's basically the same grain as it's a durum wheat, which is, once again, the hard wheat, but it's ground or milled to a coarser texture, something like cornmeal, maybe a little finer than cornmeal. I don't really use this because I find it to be the dough, once it's mixed, is a bit difficult to work with. I don't like the feel of it. This stuff, I love the feel of it, and you're going to see that when I'm done, and you're going to notice the texture, and it's a silky, satiny texture. It's good stuff. Now, did I put 2 cups there? I hope.
This flour, as wonderful as it is, it's not that easy to get. You can't go into a supermarket and buy this. So currently, when we want to make pasta, we have to go to the North End. Or you can buy it online, but you have to buy a bigger quantity, and then there's shipping, and this is supposed to be affordable and easy. So we just plan a trip into Boston, and we have dinner or lunch, and we buy our flour.
And if we don't make it
It's all
into
good.
Boston, we don't sweat it. We use all-purpose flour, and we love it. When Phyllis mentioned the North End, she's talking about the Little Italy, the Italian section of Boston, and there's one particular shop that we like to shop at, and they'll sell us this durum wheat flour by the pound. So this is, excuse me.
And what does it run a pound compared to?
Last time I bought it, it was about $1.50 a pound. All-purpose flour is cheaper than that. So if economical issues are a problem, then go with the all-purpose flour.
And I have to say, I prefer King Arthur. I don't know if you can say brand names.
Oh, yeah, only if they give us a few
It's
bucks.
unbleached. It's a wonderful flour. It's really terrific. It's my favorite. If I had to take a second.
All right,
second choice.
flour. King Arthur. It's not even Italian.
Guys, that's
Okay, so I'm making a little well. I put approximately 1.5 cups of flour. We're going to make a small batch because the magic of television. I made some previously before the cameras arrived, and that's waiting to be cooked and for the crew to eat, huh? How about that? Oh, and before I go into this, I do want to say one other thing. Show of hands out there in TV land. How many of you use dried pasta? Okay. Every one of you. We do too. And we use it a lot. There's great pasta. It's wonderful. We tend to buy or look for the imported Italian brands because they use this kind of flour, and they tend to hold their firmness after you've boiled them up a bit longer. But the domestic brands are good too.
And I love the shapes. You can buy just about any kind of a shape that you can possibly imagine if you really look. And I like to buy interesting ones that the children like. I have grandchildren. So they are always looking forward when they come here, if we're not making pasta by hand, to have an unusual one. And I just bought 2 the other day, because they're coming tomorrow, and then I'll let them pick, and then they can help to cook it and boil it up and all that kind of stuff. So.
Okay, so I've used 1.5 cups of flour here. I have a little less than 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Any salt will do. Coarse salt will not work well because you want it to dissolve. And Phyllis, make a cup with your hands for me, please.
Okay, but I'm hearing the water boiling, so I have to go over there and turn it down pretty soon.
Water can boil. Okay, so we're going to add some gooey eggs to Phyllis's.
Do that?
Yes. That's important. We don't want to get shells in that. So if you have, if you watch it carefully and remove shells if there are any in there. And other than possibly some water, thank you, dear, that's all that goes into it. And in fact, the professional pasta makers, the corporations that make it, often don't even use eggs. I'm going to start with 2 eggs here with 1.5 cups of flour, and hope that that's a good ratio. But if not, I'm going to add some extra water. I can't really give you a recipe an exact recipe that works every time, because it depends on how much moisture is in the flour, the volume of liquid in the eggs.
Or how big the eggs are.
Or how
Even
big
though
the
you
eggs
get a
are.
large egg, sometimes it's a little larger, sometimes it's a little smaller.
Now, if we could do this in a food processor, and it would have been done about 10 minutes ago, really fast, it would come out really well, and it would be awesome. But my Nona would not have done it in a food processor. Nona is grandmother, okay? Now, when I talk about, and I'm going to talk about Nona a lot, I'm going to use the word Nona because to us that's a special word. we loved our grandmothers. Both Phyllis and I did, and our nonas were great cooks. But so were many other people in our family, our extended families, and so I'm going to call them all Nona, and it's my way of paying homage to all of the people, mostly women. I'm in my 70s. The cooking back in the 40s and 50s was mostly women. I'm glad I broke that glass barrier or whatever barrier I had to break. And I use it affectionately. So we're going to beat the eggs right on the counter because Nona did that. And we're going to get it nice and mixed up.
Counter
yeah.
today, and I disinfected it with Clorox, so not to worry.
Yeah. I should have said that. In fact, I should have talked a little bit about safety. While I'm beating the eggs, let's talk about safety. There's three things that are traps in the kitchen. It's cuts, burns, and germs. You want to avoid those at all costs. Phyllis talked about germs. She disinfected with a product containing bleach and then rinsed the bleach off so that it wouldn't end up in the food. And that's important to keep the germs out. When I learned my culinary arts, thanks to Uncle Sam, I was a cook in the Army. Some of the people who ate my food may not think it was very artful, but I did. I was good. I worked hard. But sanitation was very important. Had to keep everybody healthy. You don't want your friends and family coming and end up not feeling well. Yeah.
What a good thing.
All right. Before I actually get into this, excuse me, I want to get over here and do a quick wash of my hands. Talking about germs. We use an antibacterial soap in the kitchen, and I would encourage you to do that also. And what's it? You sing "Happy Birthday," and that's while you're scrubbing, and that's long enough. And I use a brush. If you wear a lot of bling, you got to take it off because you don't know what the heck piece of meat's with chicken fats left in there from 2 weeks ago, the last time you cooked. So. Plain wetting bands are fine. That's not a problem as far as I'm concerned. I'm by no means an expert, so my advice is just that, advice. But you do exercise caution. And if the cameras weren't here, I would probably take the dish towel that's been hanging around and used all day to dry my hands.
I changed the dish towel.
But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use
So it's
clean paper towel because I'm going to get my hands into this stuff now. And I think I can tell already that we're... Can I have my bench scraper? Oh, and if you're going to do work like this, this tool is invaluable. I bought this in 1972 at a professional merchant of kitchen equipment for restaurants, etc. And I did that because Phyllis and I had a pasta shop. Who would have guessed, right? And it was in Boston. We were living in Cambridge at the time. The pasta shop was in Boston, actually just outside of Kenmore Square. And we were hoping to make a big business. We were going to get rich. There was going to be lots of dough. Unfortunately, the year was 1973. How many people remember OPEC's first oil embargo? 1973. Long lines waiting to buy gas at gas stations, sometimes hours, sometimes days. And there was rationing, and it was just too difficult for people requiring transportation to distribute their products or pick up their supplies. This is very dry, so I'm going to have to add water. I could add another egg, but There's something about water in pasta dough that helps to soften the finished product, the pasta when it's ready to cook. It makes it a little more delicate. So the technique is simple. You just use the bench scraper. It's not a big deal. This pasta is very dry, and it's taking a lot of extra.
Why do you think that's happening?
I have no idea. Why do you think it's happening? Any idea?
No, I don't have a clue.
All right, but it's coming together.
It is, I see that.
Probably put in half a cup, which is the equivalent of 2 eggs. 2 large eggs. Each large egg is about 1/4 of a cup. There we go. That's coming together nicely. And you can see it's messy. And right away, I need, after putting the water on, I now need flour.
And people shouldn't be afraid if it gets a little sticky and a little messy, like Mario said, you add a little flour. It's a learning process. I mean, you just kind of find your way.
I'm going to be covered. Oh, sorry. I'm going to be covered with flour before the day's over here. That's just the way it works. This is the kneading process. It's similar to kneading a bread dough. You get the heel of your hand and push it out, rotate the ball, put your heel down and roll it out. Heel of your hand, please, not your feet. I wouldn't care for that. And after we finish this process, I'm going to do this until it stops sticking to as much as it is to my hands. Then we're going to let it rest. I'm going to put it in a plastic bag. Can I have one of those little, you know, the plastic bags that we use for portions?
No. That's the one that knows where everything is in his kitchen. I think I never cooked.
All right, don't mind my hands. They're a little coated, but the dough is
Gluten's got to do its little thing.
It's a nice satiny texture. I love this. I live for making that pasta dough.
Feels like.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
I have to say it. It feels like a pig's nose.
Pig's nose. I wasn't expecting that.
Oh.
Okay. We need to let that rest for about a half hour. And let me wash my hands again. And the scraper. I'm going to take up some of this stuff that's on the work table, the work table. Maybe Phyllis, you can wash that down for me. All right, so that's resting probably 30 minutes, an hour, and then we would take it out and roll it into a nice sheet shape. And once again, you have options. This is the Cadillac in my kitchen. I'm sure that there are even better things than this, but it's the pasta attachment to the KitchenAid stand mixer. This is probably more like, why don't you show them that one, Phyllis? We'll move the wine glasses. This is more like what Nona would have used. This is a hand crank, clamp on your tabla, the edge of your tabla, and hand crank, and it's got a roller here and cutters here.
Right. And the cutters are interchangeable. We have several different kinds of cutters, depending on whether you want to make a wide noodle, a thin spaghetti, and I don't know what other shape you have.
I think
but
that's
I think
it.
That's about it. Yeah.
That's all I need. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
This, you can find this online for around $50. You bought one recently, Betty.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, and it's about $50. There are cheaper ones available in some of those stores that go retail for around $35. And I bought one and brought it back. It was just, the mechanism just was awful. Yeah. This thing works beautifully. Unfortunately, it's pricey to buy. Buying the KitchenAid stand mixer is expensive, and the pasta attachments are expensive. So if you can afford it, great to work with. If you can't afford it, that thing's awesome. Did you want to take
Want
a?
to tell them why you put the dough in a little bag?
Well,
and
just
let
so
it rest
just
for a while?
yeah, so it won't form a skin around the edge
But
to
I mean,
keep it.
doesn't the gluten, doesn't it just need to kind of rest for a little bit?
It does, but we're going to cheat
Oh,
because we don't have a choice. I forgot to leave some sheets of dough out for us to from the last batch to do it. So this is going to be this is going to be fun. We'll see how this works. I'm only going to do one little bit, not a lot. Looks like a small ball of dough in your hand. How am I going to feed everybody with that? And that by the time you're done, you could feed three or four. I'd say 4 people. A nice pasta meal with things like we've cooked here. Oh, I look back at the stove. You don't have to do that. This is going to take a lot of flour because it hasn't rested long enough to come together. And do you want to do that one in that machine? You want to show everybody? No, she said, okay. That's cooperation.
I'm a co-star.
I'm not a star. I'm just Mario. This is Mario's kitchen. We just love to cook. We love to cook for our friends, for our family. We do this a lot with some of the people here tonight. And it's
one of our favorite things
yeah.
in the whole wide world.
Cooking's not necessarily the favorite things, but it's all the activity around the table. We enjoy wine, we enjoy a bunch of foods, we enjoy great conversations.
We enjoy planning a menu, making a shopping list,
Can you get that
all of
football
that. I
shaker
mean, it's
for
just
me?
the whole ball of wax. It's not just the event for that particular moment. It's just everything else that's involved leading up to that. That's what
Can
I
you
enjoy.
get the flour shaker for me?
Flowers.
I didn't know how you did that.
All right. After I've got this set at the widest opening, there's, I don't know if you can see it, there's 2 stainless steel rollers here and then a knob that makes it adjustable and a hand crank. I have it at the widest opening and I'm using a lot of flour. I'm folding it in half and putting it through again and again because this is part of the kneading process, which is necessary in order to develop the gluten that makes the pasta dough behave the way we want it to behave. How many times should you put it through? Can't give you a fixed number because it depends. Depends on the texture and the moisture content. Yeah, this is pretty, as you saw, this was pretty wet and it didn't have a chance to sit very long. So it's going to need to go through a little more. So I'm going to raise this, not raise it, but I'm going to turn the knob and bring the steel rollers together one notch at a time, one setting at a time. I'm probably not going to fold it anymore because now we're done with shaping it, and now we're going to now we got to get it to the right thickness. And what's the right thickness? Well, that depends on what you're making. Tonight we're making fettuccine. Those are kind of, I don't know, wide egg noodles. Maybe 3/8 of an inch wide. We'll see. We'll see when we cut it. So, if the dough starts to stick here on the machine, then we add a little more flour. You go through a lot of flour when you're doing this. There is a danger of adding too much flour and working it too long or too many times because the dough will get tough and it's not as pleasant an eating experience, but it's okay. You think
Do you want me to tell you a story?
think Nona. You think Nona would have, oh, this is tough, I'm throwing it away? No way. Nona grew up and lived all of her life on a farm in Italy. And these were not ConAgra type farms. These were poor people who really didn't have much. And they came to this country because there was very little opportunity for them to improve their lifestyle there. So it was important to come here, and I'm so happy that they brought these traditions. I use plenty of flour because if it gets too moist, it'll absorb the flour and then become a little stickier here in the rollers, and then I've got a mess. So I use a lot of flour with each pass through the rollers. Now, that's nice for my taste. The thickness of that is good for me. Some people like it thinner. Some of those French chefs on TV, they want it so you can see your hand through it. I want it so I can put this in my mouth and eat it, chew on it, and have it taste good and feel good. So I like a thicker fettuccine. Thinner tends to overcook and fall apart in the pot in the boiling water.
Too chewy, somewhere in between.
The best surface to let this rest on after we're done here, because it should dry a bit in order to cut it properly, and so that it doesn't all come out to be a gooey mess, is I found is unfinished wood surface. A butcher block table. I've got one that I bought at an auction in 1972. It was a butcher shop in Brookline, Massachusetts that was going out of business, and they had an auction, and I left work at my lunchtime and ran down because I heard there was the right size butcher block table there, and sure enough, there it was. Table of my dreams. 5 feet long, 30 inches wide, and counter height. It was perfect, and I had to bid, and the wooden top was at least 3 inches thick, and it was perfect for me, for my needs. But they had me go up to $35 before I could get that table. That was a lot of money then, actually. But we did it. And I still have it. It's out in the garage.
We use it.
We kind of leave booze on it now. It's the right height. We don't have to bend over.
It's so heavy.
Okay, I am done with that. We're not actually going to. No, actually, I'm sorry, I take it back. We're going to let this dry a little bit, and I'm going to fold the cloth over on top. I didn't finish that. The cloth helps to absorb the excess moisture from it. So let's leave that. Ooh. We're going to just pack this away. And Phyllis and I will make Play-Doh. Yeah, please. We'll make Play-Doh animals out of that for our grandkids later. Oh, I'm going to show you. It's too cool not to. I need my glasses, sorry. Hope that doesn't throw off the lighting. Just to show you how this thing works. This is a solid, well-made piece of equipment. I love this thing. Fits in the front of the, I don't know if you can see that, in the KitchenAid stand mixer. This screw comes down and locks it in place. It's got an adjustment knob, just like the hand crank one. We're gonna try it about there. And it runs at various speeds. It's a little noisy, I'm sorry about that. But we're just gonna pass this through once and see what happens. Oh, perfect, perfecto. Uh-oh. Was that pasta? Okay. Okay, this has two cutting blades. small spaghetti-ish, large fettuccine-ish. And feed it in. It's a,
Can you show us how to do the bird nest?
oh, the bird nest. The bird nest. Needs lots of flour so it won't stick to itself while it's in there.
Needed to rest a little longer.
Yeah, it would have benefited from a longer rest. Take one end on your fingers, roll around, add even more flour, and I'm going to put this in.
Do you have a...
Some people dry this. They'll hang it over racks. I'm sure you've seen the racks. They dry it. I like to put it in the freezer, and then when it's frozen, I can pop it into either a zippered food storage bag, or right into the cooking pot. So here's what I would do. I would put it on a tray like that, do all of them, and then put it in the freezer.
For half an hour until it's nice and firm, and then you can put them in a Ziploc bag and pop them in the freezer, and they'll...
Maybe even more. So that's Pasta 101. Didn't take that long, now did it? And it was, the equipment made it simpler. Truth be told, Nona would have rolled it out with a rolling pin and cut it with a knife and not used any of this equipment. So I don't know how she did it. I tried that myself, and it's hard to get a consistent thickness when you're doing it with the rolling pin, and then it doesn't cook consistently. You get some thick pieces that might be a little underdone and thin pieces that are a little soggy. So. All right. Pasta. Homemade, hand cut, well, machine cut, but nicely cut. And that's good. That's going to feed us very nicely tonight. Now let me get the sauce. Okay.
10-ish.
Burns, you want to be careful when you're walking around, you're cooking in the kitchen with somebody else. Phyllis can be kind of fidgety, so I'm going to say, Phyllis, I got some hot stuff coming here.
Yeah, he always says that. Hot stuff coming.
I couldn't live if I burned Phyllis. Just wouldn't be right. Make sure, on a hot pot, make sure the handle is always in so people walking by don't bump into it. All right. We cheated a little bit with this sauce. I made this ahead of time. Same recipe, except I threw in some sausages. Who doesn't like that? So now I'm going to toss it a bit to get the what sauce I have on there. It's not quite enough yet, distributed. And so that the pasta, the fettuccine don't stick together. We don't like pasta that sticks together. We like people who stick together, but pasta, nah. So Phyllis took the big bowl for her salad, like someone's going to eat salad. And we're going to put, so I got this little bowl, and I'm trying to make this work. It's going to spill everywhere. I just know it is. Notice how nicely it's placed. You know, it's really, the presentation is awesome. This is Italian peasant farmhouse home cooking. This is the way Nona would cook it. This is the way Nona would serve it. And I hope I made her proud, or him proud. Phyllis makes delicious bruschetta. The bread, when it's first toasted in olive oil, is called crostini in Italian. And then when you add things to the top, it becomes bruschetta. A lot of people pronounce it bruschetta. Incorrect. If it were an English word, that would be the way to pronounce it. But as an Italian word, it's pronounced bruschetta, a hard k sound. And very flavorful. Dave brought wine. He's the best. Dave, you can come to every show if you bring the wine. Okay, Phyllis is going to finish up the salad. And
The salad is finished. It just needs, oh, dressing. You know what? I don't use bottled dressing. I like just plain balsamic vinegar and olive oil. Sometimes in the summer, I will do more of a citrus salad. I will put in mandarin oranges, if just for a change, and maybe almonds, and maybe a little bit of lemon and olive oil into a salad dressing. But that's like the
nobody's
only
going to
variation
eat the salad. They want the pasta.
Oh.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I like it.
I'm teasing. I love you. Salad's delicious. Phyllis makes a great salad. Let me take some of this stuff out of the way so we can all
Keeps it
enjoy.
regular. You have to have your veggies. Thank you, sir. You're the best.
That is pepper, right?
And these are my favorite. Did I already talk about this on camera?
Lemurs.
Lemurs. Don't they look like lemurs? To me, they do. Anyway, I love them. And my favorite, I have several sets of salad thingies. Oh, wait a minute. Did I add the oil and vinegar? No, of course I didn't.
No, but
Yeah.
the salt and pepper was good, though.
Yeah. Now, let me tell you about this. You really should put the olive oil in first and coat your lettuce and all your veggies. It helps to keep the salad a little crisper, a little longer before you add your balsamic.
Vinegar tends to wilt.
Yeah. I happen to like, as you can see, a lot of olive oil. I go crazy.
Did
But
you
it's
count
only
the
like
calories?
120 calories a tablespoon, and it's healthy, so I say. It's all good.
Oh, yes, and we have a medical doctor coming to one of our future shows, unless I end up on the cutting room floor and it doesn't go anywhere. And he's going to talk about the benefits of the Mediterranean diet and some of the chemistry behind olive oil, why it works the way it does. And wine. There are certain things that wine and cheese have an affinity. We all love wine and cheese. He's got a scientific reason why.
I think that was about 2 tablespoons of balsamic, but I'm not really sure. for this
Close
amount.
enough.
Yeah. And it's all good. There you go. We're good to go. We've got bruschetta for an appetizer. We've got a salad. We've got pasta with some meat.
It was fun preparing this for everybody. We hope you try it. Viewers at home, we hope you try it. And don't be afraid to substitute on some of the ingredients as we talked about earlier. And I can guarantee you that your table, your tavola, will be filled with people who are going to love to come to your house, and they'll probably bring pretty good wine if they know you're going to make pasta for them. Thank you.
Buon appetito.
Ciao. Buon appetito. Thank you for tuning in. Phyllis has a mouthful, but that's okay because we hope you will too. We hope you'll prepare these dishes, invite your best friends, call 2, 4, 6 of your best friends or relatives, people you love, people who make you feel happy. Cook pasta for them. Doesn't have to be homemade, but if you make it homemade, they'll bring nice wine. I can guarantee that because they did tonight. So thank you, and remember to tell your friends if you liked it, and so that we can continue to bring more cooking shows to you from our tavola. Thank you and good night.